Okay, in this video, I'm going to talk about basically boundaries. And I want to start off by stating that this is not any form of counseling or advice. Don't take it as that. You are responsible and pay the consequences to your own actions and inactions. And remember, I'm going to talk about narcissistic type people, abusive people all around, or toxic people. And these people can be dangerous. Okay, and I'm going to add in here that I'm a sociologist, have my master's degree in sociology, and I do see things as quite cultural. The way people act and behave, or culture can be cultural, or cultural. And this is about taking up for yourself, what some call taking up for yourself, and setting boundaries. Now, say you're with a group of people, maybe you know one or two, or all of them, or none, and one of them decides that they're going to they're going to make you their target, their victim, and they say something rather rude to you. And now some would say that you immediately take up for yourself. Okay, now remember, these people can be dangerous. Okay, so taking up for yourself, what some mean is to say, set that boundary and basically let them know you're not crossing this boundary and I don't accept your behavior, along this line. But it depends on where you are, who that person is. Like I said, they can be dangerous. And how you would say it even, like I said, cultural. And now some people say you shouldn't say anything to this type because this type, they don't care what you think. They really don't. And they're going to only mock you or they'll take it out on you somehow away from there, away from other eyes. You just did something, a narcissistic, some would call it a narcissistic injury, and they're going to get you back for it. And it's just going to become a whole vicious thing. Some would say that. Now, and some would say if it's somebody that you don't know and you don't think you're ever going to see again, then it's fine. Like I say, you pay the consequences of your own actions or inactions. But think about the other people who are sitting there. Some say you need to pull them aside and talk to them aside from everybody else and let them know how that, how you won't accept that behavior and that's your boundary. Some say don't, because what about the other people who are sitting there and are hearing what this person is doing? What are they going to think is that, if they have the same kind of, like they have a problem, they want to take it out on somebody, they'll take it out on you too, because you didn't do anything. You didn't stand up and say no. And when you get down to it, it's this. One size does not fit all. Nobody can give you this is a solution on how you behave when you factor in everything, like how dangerous this person it could be, or even people. It can be a collective narcissism, a group narcissism, the behaviors of. None of this is diagnosed with any kind of personality disorder or anything, but and they can gang up on you. Nobody can just say, this is what you do, and it works for everybody without any consequences, any negative consequences. Okay. And so, some might say that, you're not taking up for yourself, you're not standing up for yourself, you're not protecting yourself. And it's like they're blaming the victim here. And you felt at that time, at that moment, that person, if I say anything right then, to this person in any way, they can harm me. Then, later, both. And you just don't want to go there. Some say just practice gray rock. You act like a gray rock. That's not a one-size-fits-all thing either. Or go with no contact. That's not a one-size-fits-all. Like I said, there could be consequences to any of this. And if you go no contact with some people, I'm not trying to deter anybody from doing it. That's between you and your counselor. But they can be dangerous. That is. I don't want to quote any statistics because I don't have them in front of me, but I have heard this quite a bit. That's when it can be, doesn't mean necessarily will be the most dangerous. And it depends so much on so many things. Okay, but I did want to focus more myself on that of when you're in a group setting, and at my age, I've definitely been through this before, and it wasn't always me that the person was, trying to target. And what do you say? And I personally, in my situations and the way I do it, I'm not giving this as advice or counseling or anything. Like I've said, my personal thing is, somebody does that to me in front of a bunch of people, I set my boundary right then and there. No, you're not doing this to me. Now, that doesn't mean that I always did that. Yeah, and have I been a target, victim of? You betcha. And to me, that is that whole thing of setting boundaries. This is not, you're not crossing this boundary. I actually had reason to say this about, I think, 2 weeks ago. You do not cross this boundary, period. And the response was, whoa, wow. Not fear, of me, but wow, yeah, And the thing about it is, not everybody who's stepped over your boundary is a narcissist. Not everybody who's abusive is a narcissist. And these days people just use that, say they're narcissist or it's narcissistic behavior, not as a diagnosis, but just as, that's the common thing these days for people to say. But yeah, not everybody who does that is bad. It can also be, we all make mistakes. We all do make mistakes. And we might go a little too far on something and we don't realize, oh, well, I better back off. And somebody says, hey, you're stepping over my boundary. And you realize, oh, wow, wait a minute, I did. There are still people out there like that. Still people out in the world who can say, oh, wow, yes, I did. I did wrong. And they did wrong. And it's just not something that they do all the time. It's not something that immediately you should stamp narcissist on their head. And so I think that these days I'm a bit afraid that so many people see one bad behavior and immediately think that person's cluster B, But of course, for our own health and safety, it depends on what they're doing. That we need to get the heck out of Dodge or whatever. But that's, like I said, everybody. There's no counseling, no advice. All that I've said already. Pay the consequences to your own actions or inactions. Now, some people will say quite often, even though it is true, in a way, not 100%, it also seems like blaming the victim. And that is that people who become victims of this type have not learned how to set boundaries. Okay, that I cannot agree with. Nothing is 100%, not one size fits all, because you can become a victim without the person you ever even speaking. Okay? You can become that victim without even being there. Well, I've seen that happen to a lot with people who are scapegoats. That you wind up being the scapegoat, and you're not even aware anything's going on. Okay, but yeah, people say it's because some people say, not everybody, that it's not setting right boundaries, not learning how to set your boundaries. I don't think that's it 100% at all. Some, maybe all, but not 100% for everybody. That is the whole of what is the problem. And I don't like blaming the victim, like I said. But I have been asked this, and I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I've been asked how it is that I have always had these, what he called quick comebacks, witty comebacks. And I really thought about it, and at first I said, I don't really know. And then I thought, and I said, no, I have dealt with this type my whole life, and I'm 56 years old. And I'm used to it. I'm used to dealing with this type. Too much, way too much. No one person should have to deal with a fraction of what I've dealt with in my life. And it just comes natural to me now, at this point, definitely, to what to say. And what he said, well, what I come back with that he's seen and heard, of course, is something that is so logical that the person who's misbehaving, has this kind of narcissistic behavior or whatever, toxic person, that is so logical that if they were to say anything back, they would look like an idiot. And it's true. I do know that about me. This is what I do. And it is, like I said, kind of pretty much automatic. I just say what, yeah. Think for a moment somebody about one of these who are the type that does not let it go. Think about how they would respond if they know you're setting them up to look like a fool if they say anything, and they definitely will not allow you to make them look like a fool. Think of how irate they could become. Think about how dangerous they could become, to prove that they are right. There are some people who will not stop at anything to prove that they are right and somebody else is wrong. And then there are some people who would just, like I was explaining earlier, not everybody is a narcissist. Not everybody is so hung up on themselves that they think they could never be wrong. Some people, they might have just made a mistake and they go, oh, okay, yeah. You see, and there could be some that are that mild, people who are that mild, that they get it. You come back with something that's witty and logical, they get it. They made a mistake, and you're pointing it out in that kind of way. You see? Now, it doesn't have to be funny. Okay, really. If you're acting like you're funny, I'm not giving this as any advice what to do. Remember that. But if you point out that if you do it in a funny way, like you're being really, well, in a way witty, but more humorous, more focuses on the humor behind it, they won't take you seriously at all. But it's just such a fine line. Really, to where the focus is more on just being humorous or, being smart in a funny kind of way, I'm just going to dig myself into a deep trench there. But, yeah, I think you know what I'm talking about. If it's something that just people are just going to laugh about, they're going to laugh it off and not see, okay, there was an issue here, it needs to be addressed, and you're setting your boundary, and you're not going to allow that person to do it. You're not going to allow the person to continue to treat you in that certain manner. But like I said, okay, I'm going to wrap this up, but this is not any kind of counseling advice, so don't take it in any way to replace counseling, therapy, whatever help that professional help that you get. And don't take it as something that you should do. I should adopt this. That, I think people do. They read things online. They watch videos online. They think this is what I should do. One size doesn't fit all. And like I've said many times in this video, they can be dangerous. Okay, anybody can be dangerous. Anyway, if you want to subscribe to this channel and you haven't already, click the circle icon. If you want to watch another video on this channel, click one of the rectangles. Like, subscribe, comment, and share on your own social media if you would, and I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.